record on this computer.
Ooh, we'll explain during general introductions.
We should be good. Yeah, we're recording.
We're recording?
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters. I am your president, Farron Jacobson, and I'm glad to see some guests. Sorry I missed last week's meeting, so I don't know if you guys are first-time guests or second-time guests. Heather and Winnie, thanks for joining us. I always like to start our meetings with our mission statement. It is, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So we're glad that you're here and working on your personal growth and self-confidence. As far as business announcements, there is one thing that we spoke about yesterday during our board meeting, and that is Toastmasters is giving people a free pathway as a bonus for turning in your dues. So if you are a new member, you get a pathway, which is the kind of like a curriculum of the speeches that you're going to give. You get yours for free, but if you're a renewing member and you want an additional path, it's typically $20. But if you pay your dues before December 31st, they're giving us a free pathway, so a $20 value. If you have already paid your dues, go ahead and go to choose a path in Pathways, and you just add it to your cart. It should come out to $0, and you can just have that on the back burner. You can finish the pathway that you're in, and then you have another one to start, or you can do them simultaneously if you want. So there's that. Let's see. We'll go over some housekeeping Zoom meeting rules. For Zooms, we like to keep ourselves muted unless we're called upon. Yeah, as well as we're using jazz hands instead of applause. And if we are needing to move around the room at all, then please turn off your camera while you move around so that you're not distracting other members, and then you can turn your camera back on when you are ready to go. Stand up when giving a speech if you can, if you're able, in your space. That is it. I would like to pass the podium over to our Toastmaster of the day, Sarah Dawson.
Hi, thank you, Farron. I'm so glad you're back this week. Nice to see you again. And this week, the theme is fears and phobias. And I'm guessing lots of us have fears of different things. Some of us have more than others. I think most of us are here to improve our speaking, probably because we have some of those fears, and it could be any host of things, whether you have like a fear of silence or just a fear of, if you say something, you're going to be humiliated if you mess up, all sorts of different things like that we feel insecure about and that kind of thing. Well, how do we get over those fears? There's two general in psychology kind of literature, there's two ways that people generally overcome these fears. One is called flooding, and another is called systematic desensitization. Flooding is when you just go for it. You jump right in, don't think about it. You jump in the deep end, sink or swim, live or die. You're just going to go for it. You just plunge straight in without, you just face your fear. So an example of this would be if you or I was afraid of snakes, and you decide, I'm just going to go sit in the middle of the aquarium at the zoo full of snakes. So you're just surrounded by them, and you're like, here I am, whether I live or die, I'm just going to go for it. The other one is called systematic desensitization. This one takes into account, it's pretty much just like it says, you systematically desensitize yourself to it. So you expose yourself little by little to it, you get comfortable being around it, whether it's breathing techniques, whatever it is, to reduce the anxiety that you experience when you face this fear. And then you kind of continue on until you gradually increase it until you're exposed to it a lot more. An example of this, with the same scenario with the snakes, if you were afraid of snakes, that you would be first you might look at a picture. So you look at a picture of a snake, your heart might start racing a little bit, but you calm yourself down, you're like, whew, this is okay. So then you start on your next venture, you're like, okay, I'm gonna look at a rubber snake. So you hold a rubber snake, and you're like, okay, this is okay. Then you move up to the next one, I'm gonna go look at a live snake. And you could gradually keep going until you can hold a snake, or you can be surrounded by snakes, and you can still be able to calm your anxiety in the midst of all of that. So that's systematic desensitization. There are pros and cons to both. Flooding is a super quick way to get over your fear. You're done, you're quick, okay, it's over, but you also might die or be traumatized in the process. There's that. The second one, systematic desensitization, it just takes a lot longer, but it's usually generally a lot safer and reduces your risk of being able to, like the trauma that's involved in it. And the reason I bring this up is if we're here trying to overcome our fears, we have a couple different ways. I think Toastmasters is probably more closely associated with the systematic desensitization, because we come and we continually expose ourselves to it, and we continually can say, like, let's practice this speaking until we get more and more used to it. It's a smaller, safer environment in order to do it. Some of us, we have different personalities. Some of us might sit back and watch for a little while before we slowly go in, and others might just jump right in. If you were doing a flooding of speech preparing, you would say, I have a speech tomorrow in front of 1,000 people, and I'm just going to go do it. And you might sink or swim. You might be horrible. It might be great. You have no idea, but there's just those two different types of things. And so I would just encourage you to continue to face those fears and take the next step, because it's just step by step until we finally get it. So there's that. And I get to introduce our general evaluator of the day. I think it's Denise, right? Are you general evaluator? Oh no, Chanel. Yay, Chanel. That's right. Okay. Chanel's up next as general evaluator.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. I apologize in advance if you guys hear any weird sounds in the background. We're having construction done at my house, so there might be some drills whirring or things like that. I am the general evaluator for today, so essentially my role is to introduce the evaluation team and oversee the meeting and make sure that everything is going smoothly. So to start, I am going to reintroduce Sarah, yes, who is our grammarian, and she's going to give us our word of the day. Please welcome Sarah.
In honor of our theme for the day, I decided to choose the word aversion as the word of the day. It is already in your chat box if you haven't seen it. And it means it's a strong feeling of dislike, opposition, repugnance, and I don't know how to say this word, antipathy. As if you knows how to say that, please let me know. I don't even know what that means. But anyway, it's a strong feeling of dislike, opposition, or repugnance. And it just happened to be the perfect thing that was listed there, a strong aversion to snakes and spiders. And they say it says that it's usually followed by the word to, aversion to something other than just an aversion. I don't even know how you'd say it without to, but aversion. So aversion is the word of the day, in case anybody wants to know. I'll be keeping track of who says it and who doesn't.
Thank you, Sarah. And we have Taylor down as our all counter for today, but she is not present. So did we decide who was going to cover that role?
Denny.
Okay, now I will introduce Denny, who will be our all counter for the day.
Hi, everybody. I'm keeping tabs on you if you use the word and I would like to introduce another one that I've noticed slips in a little bit, which is sorry. We seem to apologize a lot for what we're saying, and really we want to just keep going so that there's no attention brought to something. So I'm going to kind of add that in there, if you don't mind, and I'm going to report at the end.
Thank you, Denny. I did not do well last week with my Oz and Ums, so hopefully this week will be better. And finally, I am going to introduce Joey, who is both our timer and Zoom master for today. So Joey, you can talk about both of those roles.
You got it. Thank you, Chanel. So I will be recording our time on this stopwatch here. For those that don't have this yet, it's called Timer 4TM. Timer 4, can you see that? 4TM as an app, free app. And it's pretty simple to use. You can just click, there's like a drop down for speeches, table topics, evaluation. So speeches today are going to be, I think, 5 to 7. Let me know if that changes. Farron, Denise, I think Denise is giving a speech today, right? So 5 to 7 minutes. Table topics are going to be 1 to 2, and evaluation is going to be 2 to 3 minutes. So I will be keeping the time as the timer. And then the Zoom technician, I used to have an aversion to tech, but I've had to almost do more of the flooding, I guess. I have a website, I run a website blog, and I've had to do more flooding at times, and other times really scary. I've had to do more of a systematic desensitization, as Sarah says. And on this, in Toastmasters in our group, we have because of our Zoom, we do different things like try and make sure we're focusing on the person who's speaking. So trying to make sure that it's speaker only that is showing up, and that we are zooming out during table topics and zooming in, all that kind of stuff with the Zoom functions. So that's what I'll be doing today, timing our speakers, our speeches, our table topics, and our evaluations. And then I will give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Joey. Can anybody else see the word of the day in the chat box? Everybody can see it? Okay, I couldn't see it. I don't know why, but if you all can see it, then that's totally fine. I will now pass the podium back to Sarah, who will introduce our first speaker.
I want to make sure I got this right. Denise, you're up first, right? All right, yay. Well, Denise has been a Fresno City Toastmaster since August of 2017. She is currently serving on the Fresno City Toastmasters board as the Vice President of Membership. She spends most of her free time tending to her plants, reading and playing with her grand dog, Posey. This will be her third speech from the Leadership and Development Pathway entitled Digital Dementia. Welcome, Denise. Yay.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to set up a little bit here so that I can be standing. I have not stood for a long time at a Toastmasters meeting, and so if this looks okay to everybody, I'm not sure. I'll get started. I would like to preface, because I won't apologize, this theme of today is perfect because public speaking is one of my greatest fears. And I am flooding today because I was not prepared at all. I had no speech, so I'm pulling something out of the archives. And it's scary. So just wanted to share that with our guests so that you can feel comfortable. Sometimes even people who've been around a long time and are semi-pros still get the jitters, but here I am. Take a moment to think about the last time you memorized somebody's phone number. Or think about a time you were talking with friends and a topic came up, and before you even accessed your own brain, you grabbed your phone to Google the answer to something. Technology, especially today, has changed the way we live our daily lives, the way we learn, the way we use our faculties. A growing body of research has suggested that it may have a profound effect on our memories, especially our short-term memories, our working brain. The implications of a poor working memory on our brain function and overall intelligence levels are difficult to overestimate. The depth of our intelligence hinges on our ability to transfer information from our working memory which is our scratch pad, to our long-term memory, which is our filing system. When facts and experiences enter our long-term memory, we are able to weave them into complex ideas that give richness to our thoughts. While our long-term memory has a nearly unlimited capacity, our short-term memory is far more limited. And it's very, very fragile. A break in concentration can erase it completely from your mind. Meanwhile, new research has shown that even the simple act of using our phones to take a picture, which is something we all do, it is so common today. I'm guilty of it myself. I must take thousands of pictures of my pets a week. But even that action of picking up your phone to take a photo alters the memory of that moment while you're doing it. If you're concerned about premature memory loss, you should be. I'm going to list 5 things that you should know about how technology has an effect on our memories. One, information overload makes it harder to retain information. And today, with everything going on, the pandemic, the fires, the elections, we are being bombarded with information right now. And if you get anything out of what I say today, it is please take time to step away from social media, step away from any kind of technology, and let yourself rest, because it's good for your mental health. But really, if we don't want to be forgetting who we are in the next 20 years, we really want to take care of ourselves today. It's very important. So even a single internet session can have an effect on your memory, which is amazing to me. Number two, the internet is becoming the brain's external hard drive. Research has found that when we know a digital device or tool will remember a piece of information, we are less likely to remember it for ourselves. I think we all know that already, but our habits are getting bad. And even when we know this, we're still picking up our phones and Googling stuff. The social aspect of remembering has been replaced by digital tools. This is where it gets scary. Remembering is historically a social process. We remember certain things and share those things with others. And in turn, we rely on the others to help us fill in the things that we've forgotten. To a certain extent, we delegate mental tasks like remembering facts to others in our social group, but now the internet can do that for us. Many people first perform a smartphone search rather than calling a friend. Now, rather than turning to that wisdom of our tribe, we're using tools like Google when we need information. 3, distraction makes it more difficult to form memories. We know that. 4, information overload causes us to lose sight of the big picture and eventually the small picture as well. The internet may have a greater effect on our sense of meaning than we realize. Sadly, we convert knowledge into pieces that don't have a home in a larger conceptual framework. When this happens, we surrender meaning and it loses its personal value. And 5, and most important, young people's memories are rapidly degenerating. So-called senior moments are becoming increasingly common among younger people. And it's thought to be due, at least in part, to excessive reliance on technology. The bottom line is, despite its undeniable benefits, digital technology does pose a threat to optimal brain function and healthy relationships to others. Remain as aware as possible of the way it influences you and your behavior. Thank you.
Denise, thank you so much. I could relate to almost everything you said in there. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. and I'm thinking, oh, I think I need to be tested for Alzheimer's already. And so maybe taking a little step back from this would be a great idea. Thank you so much for your speech, Denise. And now we get to welcome Farron Jacobson. She is on speech number 4, the Engaging Humor Pathway. She is the current president of Fresno City Toastmasters and has been in that club for 3 years. She is on her 2nd pathway and hopes to tell more funny and engaging stories. She is a yoga teacher, an ultra marathon runner, and enjoys spending time running, hiking, and doing yoga on the San Joaquin River Trail. Today, Farron will present her research on how not to get eaten by a mountain lion. Yay, Farron.
Thank you, Sarah. Joey, can you give me hostship back so that I can share my screen later? Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. 26-year-old Kyle Burgess was out on an easy 10-mile trail run in Slate Canyon, Utah. He saw what he thought were bobcats, but as he approached them to take a video, he noticed the mama cougar mountain lion come out at him and realized that he was actually looking at some baby cougars. The mom started lunging at him and following him for 6 entire minutes while he cursed profusely at her and told her to go back to her babies. You may have seen the viral video that ended up all over major news outlets. I'll show you some still videos from that. Let me just share my screen. Here we go. 1 second. If you did, can you all see my screen first of all? Good, cool. If you did see this video, here are some stills from that. And I can tell you when I watched this video, since I am an avid trail runner and I have run on trails that look exactly like this, when the mountain lion started doing this coming at him, I almost threw my phone across the room. I was so scared. I decided to research how to avoid getting eaten by a mountain lion. First off, the quick tip is do not ever approach any wildlife, especially cubs or baby mountain lions. You can back away slowly, as the runner Kyle did. You can make yourself look big. The bigger you are, the more afraid of you they're going to be. You can speak in a lower toned voice, so you have to activate the bass in your voice and speak lower instead of a high pitch that they're going to try to chase. If you are attacked, it is recommended to fight back. I got this from Justine Smith, a UC Davis assistant professor of wildlife, and she said, the best bet if you are attacked, even though it's very, very rare to get attacked by a mountain lion, is to fight back with blows to the face and protect your own neck and head. Next up is, what do you do if you encounter a bear? This is my mom, and she loves to tell this story about how when she was in Yosemite, she was hiking with my dad and my sister, and there was a baby cub black bear approaching. So my dad, of course, stops and pulls out his phone trying to take a video, and then here comes mama bear. My dad stays where he is. He continues to take video while my mom is freaking out, panicking. You need to get away from the bear, get away from the bear. And finally, she just used her own instinct and went, roar, and scared away this bear. The thing is, she actually did what you're supposed to do when you see a bear. Identify yourself as a human. Make yourself look really, really big, maybe by extending your arms above your head. Speak in a lower tone voice. So she used her roar, she used that bass, activate the bass. And also, if you have any small children or small pets with you, pick them up so that they're not seen as smaller prey. You can also put them on your shoulders so that you do look bigger and taller. And move slowly and sideways. A sideways motion away from the bear is less threatening, and you do not want to run away from them because they will chase you, just like dogs. Another quick tip, do not try to climb a tree to escape a bear, because bears can climb trees way better than you can, both brown bears and black bears. And if you see a brown or grizzly bear, actually if you are attacked by one, then play dead. I couldn't find research on why the bears are different when it comes to grizzly bears or black bears, but if it is a brown bear, a grizzly bear, it's smart to play dead, protect your head and neck. But if it is a black bear, fight back, because playing dead is not going to help you. What to do if you come across a snake. I got this information from theoutbound.com. There are actually just 4 venomous snakes in the United States. So if you're hiking anywhere in the United States, make sure to know what a rattlesnake, a copperhead, a water moccasin, and a coral snake look like, because those are the ones that are venomous. And you're likely to encounter snakes that are stretched across the trail during early morning and early evening, but they will be hiding from the sun, from direct sunlight, and find shade underneath branches or rocks. So you just want to keep an eye out for them, watch your surroundings. And if you are bitten, all you have to do is remain calm, take note of the time you were bitten, Remain calm, try to identify the snake by its markings, and then go to the hospital. You do not want to do what they tell you to do in the movies, which is try to suck out the venom. Doesn't work. Do not try to make a tourniquet because it can cause nerve damage. Do not cut yourself to try to increase blood flow to the area. That doesn't work either. Just remain calm, try to slow your heart rate down, and get to the hospital as soon as possible. If you do see a coyote or a bobcat in the wilderness, the protocol is the same. Make yourself look really big. Pick up any small children or dogs because they do target smaller prey than them. Get really loud, again, activate your bass and your voice. And as a last resort, if they're not going away, you can throw rocks or sticks or wave branches at them to get them to go away. Kind of like how Kyle escaped from the mountain lion. He started throwing rocks and she retreated after that 6-minute chase. And then I want to talk about what to do when you see a cow on the trail. And you might be thinking, okay, we're going over all these deadlier animals, the bears and the mountain lions and snakes and things that can actually harm you. What about a cow? Well, let me tell you, I encounter so many cows on the San Joaquin River Trail. And I've actually had a friend who was running. She was running on the trail. Cow was on the left side. Its calf was on the right side. She ran in between them. The cow took it as a threat, bucked her up in the air. She landed and broke 2 ribs. It has happened. Be very careful of the cows. Again, watch your surroundings. Try to go around them if possible. And then get in their flight zone. I did not know about this at all, but I found this research from the University of California Division of Agriculture and Natural Resources. The flight zone for a cow is the area in which they feel threatened and they want to flee from you. This can be anywhere from 6 to 12 feet, but as close as 3 to even 1 foot away. It just depends on how accustomed the cow is to having humans in their area. What we usually do when we're running along the trail and we see cows is we start yelling, we clap our hands and yell at the cow to get off of the trail. But I found out that this is not what you're supposed to do because loud noises can actually frighten the cows. It can cause them to kick, it can cause them to chase you. So instead, you remain quiet, you either go around them or you get into their zone by not coming from behind them, but getting to the side of them, and they will eventually move out of your way if you get close enough to them. Do not get between them and their babies, and again, do not make loud noises. Really quickly, I wanted to go over tarantulas. I know a lot of people have aversions to spiders and tarantulas, but I wanted to let you know that the first thing you should do if you see a tarantula is either leave it alone, this is my friend Audrey, or kindly and gently move it off of the path. Tarantulas are actually they are venomous, some are venomous, but their venom has no effect on humans or dogs or cats. So if they bite you, it's just gonna feel like a bee sting. You might have some slight pain and swelling, but the venom is not actually going to hurt you. That's according to the American Tarantula Society. So if you can find a big stick with a soft end, just try to gently guide them off of the path. It's actually tarantula mating season now through the end of November nearby. Sorry for the dogs. And so you might see some tarantulas. That's what you're supposed to do. Also take preventative measures whenever you're out in the wilderness. Run with at least one other partner or hike. Don't wear headphones so that you can remain aware of your surroundings. And especially around dusk and dawn when animals are most active. As a recap, if it has claws like bears and cats, look big and activate your base. If it is a snake or cow, give it space. Thank you.
Thank you, Farron. That was great. I really want to start singing. It's all about that bass, about that bass. And also, it's totally relevant. My brother's dog's over here, and I had the vacuum cleaner out the other day, and man, she was just going after it. And when I would pull the vacuum cleaner back, that's when she would chase it. But when I would push it towards her, that's when she'd get all frightened and go away. So I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's really cool. So thank you so much, Farron. Thank you, Denise, both for your great speeches. Super informative. Love them both. And now I get to introduce Joey. You're still on table topics, right?
Actually, I think, who did we say yesterday? at our
Me.
exec meeting.
Oh, Sonia. Great. Okay,
Sonia.
Sonia's
There
going to
we
take
go.
over. All right. Sonia will be taking over for Toastmaster. Not Toastmaster. I'm the Toastmaster. Sonia's going to be taking over table topics. Go, Sonia.
Okay, so Farron kind of helped me out here. So the first, I have 4 questions. So the first one is, number 1, what is your biggest fear? Number 2, if you had to touch a spider or snake, which one? Number 3, swimming in the ocean with sharks or jumping out of an airplane. And number 4, flying or driving. Because some people don't want to fly, some people drive. So those are the 4 questions. So any volunteers? Or do I have to choose like a kid, like a teacher picking on a kid?
I got you, Sonia. Do you have to answer all or just one of them?
Just one of them.
I have a strong aversion now to international flights. On my honeymoon, my husband and I went around the world crazy. We try to fit 4 different countries in 2 weeks, and I'd do it all over again. But at the very, very end, I got extremely sick to the point where we didn't even leave our hotel the last day. It was so bad. That flight home from Istanbul, Turkey was the longest flight of my life. And as soon as I got home, went immediately to the hospital, and it turns out I got colitis during which is, if you don't know, it's severe food poisoning, which is not fun, and I would never, ever, ever, ever wish that on my worst enemy. But yeah, ever since then, I definitely have a very big aversion of international flights, long flights. I just don't like flying as much anymore because of it.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It was still fun though. I'm glad I got to do it, and at least it was at the very end of the trip, so I'm thankful for that.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. Okay, who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll do a follow-up story to Heather's about the flying / driving. I actually do love to drive, but I had a really good experience on an international flight 3 years ago. My friend and I did a summer internship in India, and we had booked our tickets several months in advance. Sorry about that noise. And we ended up getting these really cheap tickets on an airline called Singapore Airlines, which at the time, I don't know if it still is, was the top rated airline in the world. I think that the United Arab Emirates might have beat it out now. And I had never traveled on anything besides American Airlines or United or Alaska, one of the basic American airlines. And this airline, they give you hot towels at takeoff and at landing and in between the flight to put on your head and your neck. They have amazing food, really good airplane food. You get to choose your menu from 5 different types of food, and they have little things of ice cream for dessert. So it was a really long flight. It was about 15 hours, but we were very impressed with how fancy it was. I don't know if I'll ever get to be on a flight like that again. We just happened to get really, really cheap tickets when we were looking, is why we ended up doing it. So if I was flying international, I would highly recommend Singapore, but it is kind of pricey.
Well,
Singapore
thank you
is the
for
number
sharing,
1
Chanel.
country with the most concentrated of millionaires and billionaires living in the same area.
Yes, it's a very wealthy little city, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, thank you for sharing. I like that. We'll have to check out whenever we're able to fly. So who'd like to go next?
Can you repeat the 4 questions?
Sure. Number 1 is, what's your biggest fear? Number 2, if you had to touch one, would it be a spider or snake? Number 3, would you swim in the ocean with sharks or jump out of an airplane? And number 4, would you rather drive or fly?
I guess I'll go. I'm trying to think. So with the skydiving or the swimming with sharks, I have done both. So both are great and really, really cool. I won't do that one. Spider or snake? Probably a snake. And I know we're not supposed to do them all, but the flying or the driving, I used to be a flight attendant, so I would absolutely have to say flying. I think that flying is far better and far safer. And I know a lot of people are terrified of it because it doesn't seem natural. I mean, until the last 100 years, we didn't ever have to go up. I mean, like nobody got to fly or do that. They only kind of dreamed of it. And so it's not normal, like to be outside and like, well, I mean, up in the air so far above. It's not a normal thing. So I could understand why there would be this perception of fear, but it's actually far safer and there's far more people who die driving than they do flying. It's just that when a big plane goes down, like there's a lot of people who die at once, and so it becomes more of a tragedy and becomes more of a fear, I think, in the midst of everybody. But I do think overall that flying is just one of the most amazing things ever. You get to see so many other beautiful things that it's far worth any fear that you might experience doing that. So it's great. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. I like your answer. It's really good because I like to fly too. If I had the choice between driving and flying, I'd rather fly. So thank you. Anybody else?
Perhaps time for one more, Sonia.
All right, we have time for one more, ladies and gentlemen.
Denny,
Danny.
hi you guys. I just got back from a 3,100-mile drive, leaving here, going to Idaho. Then I drove all over Idaho. I mean, all over Idaho. But what I like about driving, I'm a talker. I like to walk up to people I don't know and ask them all kinds of funny questions. And I can't do that on an airplane as well as I can driving. Plus, you miss out on all the rest stops. Oh my gosh, the rest stops are hysterical. You just never know what you're going to find out in the middle of nowhere. So I traveled 3,100 miles with a dog, and during the pandemic, and everywhere is different. The worst problem is finding a bathroom in the city. Outside of the city, there's no problem at all. But I just love driving. It does something to my brain. I don't know what it is. Watching things go by and always seeing new things, new people. There's just so much to see. That's my choice, driving.
Well, thank you, Denny. I like that too, because yeah, you're right. You get to see a lot of things that you can't see when you're flying up in the air. So I guess it has both good. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're done with table topics, and now I will pass it back to our Toastmaster, Sarah.
And I'm just going to hand it right off to Chanel.
Yeah. And so next we're going to hear from our evaluators, which we're doing a little trade today, and Farron and Denise are going to evaluate each other. So first up, I will introduce Farron, who will be evaluating Denise's speech.
Thank you, Chanel. Denise, you did a great job. I think we both procrastinated on this one. I wrote my speech last night and I did my slideshow this morning. And I like that you just pulled from your archive. That was really smart. I should have maybe done that because I had things already prepared. So I loved your speech, digital dementia. It's a very relevant topic. So I appreciated that very much. You're speaking right to your audience. I think you did good with speaking extemporaneously about the theme and how that ties in to what you were talking about, to your topic. It was a great intro. You were very relatable. You asked us to think. And I looked around the screen and I noticed people stopping and actually thinking, yeah, when is the last time. I was noticing everybody else as well as you. I love that you also don't use crutch words. You've gotten so much better since the time that you started. And I noticed that you just pause and you're comfortable in your pause. You take a breath and then you continue if you get lost. I love that. I think the only thing that you would want to work on is using notes. And I know it's because you pulled from the archive and didn't really prepare too much. You didn't practice your speech. And I noticed you were looking to the side using your notes. I did the same thing in my speech. So I know we both need to work on that. And then just one thing to challenge yourself is to maybe add a visual, maybe add a slideshow, something like that. You had your 5 points that were very distinct. Maybe just a quick little slideshow with those 5 points could have made it just that much better. But overall, I think you did a really great job. Your clarity is great. Vocal variety is fantastic. Your eye contact, again, looking to the side for your notes, but then you were back and focused on the screen. And it was a well-researched topic. I don't remember when you gave that speech, but I know that you researched it well when you did. And it was just a very interesting topic that we can all relate to. So I think you did a fantastic job.
Thanks, Farron. And now, Denise, let's hear what you have to say about Farron's speech.
Farron, you always give great speeches. It's interesting, we usually tell people to start off telling them what you're going to tell them. But the fact that you just jumped into this one with a name and a fact, when it was something like this subject, like an attack, I don't know if it was intentional, but it worked perfect. And it was great to not know what you were going to tell us in this situation. You really hit it with the visuals. That really popped out to me. It makes it a little harder to evaluate, like your, movements and eye contact and that part of the evaluation. But in normal times, you're always really good with your eye contact, and so that wasn't an issue. I did glance over once in a while and watch, and you, your hand movements were great. It kind of strengthens the points that you were getting across when you do like this with your hands or something like that, which kind of just draws down your message. The tips were great. I'm actually going to remember these and think about them. Cows is something new that I hadn't thought about. I love animals, so I probably would have ran up to a cow, or I wouldn't be afraid of a cow, honestly. What was the other thing that I wanted to point out? The really, like, comfort level and all that stuff is great. Every once in a while, I can hear the little stress in your voice, which is something that I think we heard a lot more of when you first started. So it's barely even noticeable, but I did catch it like a couple of times. Other than that, it was so informative. It was humorous. It was great and helpful. So great speech. Thanks.
Thank you, Denise.
Yes, I agree. I think you both did a good job. I really enjoyed it today. Now I'm going to call the evaluation team to let us know how our meeting went. And first, I think we have Joey, who's going to give us the timer report.
Thank you, Chanel. So we have on our speeches, Denise came in perfect, 7:01, or at least almost perfect, but we get that 30 seconds buffer there. Farron came a little over. She had a Joey day today, I guess, 8:34, but she gave some great information. And for a speech that she put together super fast, not too bad. And same with Denise, doing that in off the cuff, being able to do that. For you guests, don't feel like you have to do that. I do suggest try and get somewhat good at that, but the ladies did a great job on their times for their speeches. Table topics, we had 4. Heather came in at 102, perfect. Chanel, 137, perfect. Sarah D, 116, awesome. Denny, Mason at 118. So everybody did great, staying on time with table topics. And our evaluators came in right on time as well. right at the green mark. Farron 206 and Denise at 215. So great work, ladies.
Thank you, Joey. And now Denny is going to chew us out for all of the ahs and ums ahead.
It's not true. Sarah, I found a new one for you. I mean, and like. Joey, you were great. Denise, your speech was perfect. I didn't catch one crutch word in there. When you went to evaluation, that was off the cuff, and slipped in there quite a bit. Farron, you did a great job. I had a couple of tisks in there. One sorry after the dog barked. And all I want to say about that is that you did mention it going into the speech. We knew that there were dogs there. And so if you don't say I'm sorry, nobody even thinks about it. Or I want to say it brings less attention to it. Sonia, you had 4 so's. That's your word. Heather had 1 in her table topic. Chanel, you had 1 sorry, which was appropriate after a noise that was in the background. Although, again, you explained to us that there might be some noise in the background. So if you don't say I'm sorry, we won't think anything of it. And that's my report. Thank you.
Denny.
Thank you, Denny. And next, Sarah is going to give us our grammarian report.
Word of the day was something. I've already aversion.
Aversion.
I have an aversion to words. No, so I'm pretty sure Joey and Denise used it, but I was thinking about other things at the time. So Joey and Denise, you both used it, correct, when you were talking?
Farron.
Okay.
Farron
And then Farron. Oh yes, I got Farron for sure. And then Heather actually did it twice. So great job, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, I personally really enjoyed today's meeting. I think it was exciting that we had 2 speeches. It definitely makes the meeting interesting, especially because you both chose topics that, at least for me, were really relevant and that I felt that I could learn from. I have definitely noticed, and part of this could be that I'm just getting older, that my memory is not nearly as good as it used to be when I was 12, 13, 14, 15. And I have to be a lot more intentional about trying to exercise it. And Farron, I also love to hike, so those are really helpful tips. I've had 2 encounters so far with bears out on trails, and to be honest, the first time I was kind of in a situation where I wouldn't have known what to do. Luckily, it decided to leave us alone, but I would have been really stuck if it had come at us, so that is really good for me to know. Sarah, thank you for being an energetic Toastmaster today and leading us in that way. I think everybody else did a good job at their roles, and we have 2 returning guests, which is exciting. So everybody can pat yourselves on the back. Good meeting. Farron, I'll give it back to you to wrap us up today.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to comment and kind of answer Denise in your speech. I did want it to feel like there wasn't a roadmap because of the theme of fears and phobias. It was like another wildlife animal, another wildlife animal. So I'm really glad that you noticed that. It was cool.
Great. I like that. And I want to just point out, which I didn't know before, but knowing that you went over, your speech was so interesting. I had no clue you went over at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. Yeah.
I kind of knew beforehand that I was going to go over. Tried to rush. Anyways, as for rewards, we like to give rewards at our meetings. Typically, we give out stickers and we put them on our little badges that we wear, but here we do it virtually. I would like to give a virtual sticker to our speakers first, myself and Denise, as well as Joey for taking on multiple roles, as well as Denny for jumping into Odd Counter, even though she's been gone a few weeks, jumped right back into it and took over that for us. Awesome, thank you so much. Any birthdays this week? None? All right, cool. We can move on to filling out next week's agenda. November 3rd. The theme is Election Day. Do we have a Toastmaster?
I just want to point out I'm not going to be here next week. I'm going to be in San Diego.
Okay, cool. Enjoy your time with your daughter.
Thank you.
I'm also going to be absent next week, so I cannot volunteer for anything.
Okay.
Throw me in a Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, Joey. I have speakers Denny and Sonia. Are you still able to speak next week?
Oh,
No, I'm not doing my speech next week.
Did you want to move to a different week, Sonia?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to move it to a different day.
You want November 10th or 17th so that it's on the calendar?
You know what? I will take I'll take the 10th.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Denny, are you still okay to speak next week?
I'll come up with something.
Awesome.
In the spirit.
Yeah.
So it looks like we'll just have one speaker. Does anyone want to evaluate Denny? All that's left, I guess, is Sarah and I. Sarah.
Yeah.
Good. Table topics master, I'll go ahead and take that. General evaluator. Is Storm, does anyone know what happened to Storm?
I'm going to text him. I might have scared him off. I was trying to get him into his second speech, I think.
Okay.
I got him into pathways, but I might have scared him off at the same time. So I'll text him, see how he's doing.
I can do all counter.
Okay, thank you. Sonia.
Is Joey one of the list of fears on people's list now? We're all afraid of Joey.
Sarah, when are you going to give a speech?
I'm too afraid of you. I'm sorry.
Oh, Joey,
I'm
you
just
scared
kidding.
him off.
Sonia,
Jeez.
you didn't put me in the list of table topics, fears.
funny. I needed that laugh.
Oh,
We have left
Phobia.
general evaluator and grammarian and timer.
I can do grammarian too.
Okay, thank you. I'll take general evaluator as well as table topics. So we just need a timer.
So
and then-
I'll do timer
Okay, thanks,
unless
Joey.
somebody else wants to pick up double, but I'll do timer.
I'll probably take Zoom Master too, unless someone else wants to try it that day. And so that is all filled out. Would anyone else like to schedule a speech for November 10th or 17th?
I'll go 17. Okay.
Awesome. Got you down.
Chanel, did you raise your hands, Chanel?
I'll do the 17th too. It's been a few weeks, so.
All right. Got you down.
Since I'm not going to be here next week, put me down for whatever you need on the 10th.
Okay.
Since I won't be here to volunteer.
All right. I'll put you down for Toastmaster that day. The theme is glass ceilings.
Boom.
Boom. All right. Any questions, comments, or criticisms from our guests?
Winnie?
I would like to join the Toastmaster next week. And I would like to have the speech next week.
Okay.
Let's introduce myself because I did 2 weeks ago in different club, so I can do it again. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so
Well,
since I'm going to be gone, Winnie, send your application so that I can get it over because I sent you that.
you have the application, Winnie?
And yeah, if you've got Joey's email, just add him or Sonia in there. If you don't worry about it. I'll forward it over.
Yeah.
And we'll get that part taken care of, and then that way you can jump in next week. Wow.
Yeah, so you'll be doing your icebreaker speech, and maybe Joey can help you out with pathways and get you set up for your icebreaker.
Yeah, I'll at least send you the PDF for that, Winnie, the icebreaker. I'll just send that at least at first so that you don't have to do a bunch of stuff before your speech. So I'll send that to you as soon as we get your application. And you have that, right? Any questions on filling out your application or the cost or anything?
I think I did it last time. Yeah. I think I can.
So you filled it out?
Yes.
Okay, so send that over to Denise, and then Denise will forward it to me. We'll get you in. And then once I get that, I'll send you out the icebreaker, and then you can look that over. It's not too hard. It's just more of about you, about your life, about your, could be anything about you.
Yeah.
You just get to learn about you. So it's not that hard, but you'll want to obviously see what the speech is going to be about. So as soon as I get that, I'll send that over to you. Okay.
Okay. And I have another question. Last week I talked with Denise. Can we talk about that? Who can mentor me or who wants?
Yes, I told Winnie I'd bring it up today that she is looking for a mentor. And you actually mentioned you'd like a couple different people because different people bring different things to it. So yeah, I think that's awesome, Winnie. So think about it, guys, and then maybe get back to me and I'll reach out to Winnie, or you guys can, you've got her emails, reach out to her directly. I'm willing to be one of those mentors for you, Winnie, if you want. So, but I like that you have that forethought of different people have different skills. So that's really smart. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So exciting.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I know.
Yay.
Welcome.
All right. Guys, I got to
Thank you.
jump off. I have a meeting at 1:30. So
Okay.
Bye.
bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye, guys. You too.
Bye.
All right.